We've got some fascinating individuals here, and I'd like to kick off with Charles Kovess. Charles is a fascinating individual who you've read about in the background notes, but what you may not know about him is that he was actually a member of the Australian women's water polo team at one stage, and that, I think, warrants a note. I know he was in the men's, but to be in the women's as well is quite amazing. Charles is also the son of Hungarian migrants many decades ago, and the name Kovess means follow me, which when you see Charles talk as a passion provocateur, you'll start to understand why some people do follow his lead. But there's no doubt Charles is not always a follower. Charles, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. In about 100 years' time, most of you will be dead. If you're under 20, perhaps not. I'll share that idea with you later. First big idea, what do you want your legacy to be? Why are you here? What are you meant to be doing? What's the purpose of you arriving and departing within the space, most of us, of less than 100 years? What's the point? My message to you is decide. Decide what the point is, because I've found, having been raised as a Catholic, having practiced Catholicism for 40 years, mastered it, don't need to practice it anymore. I have found the Catholics disagree with all the others and all the others disagree with the Catholics. So, because there is no agreement, you decide. My ideas I'm sharing and have been doing for the last 17 years since I stopped practicing law 17 years ago, because I mastered that as well, so I didn't have to practice it anymore. The ideas I'm sharing with you are much influenced by Buckminster Fuller. Who's heard of Buckminster Fuller? Who hasn't heard of Buckminster Fuller? Please, if you've never heard of him, go and look him up. He says, and I agree with him, and this was such an inspirational idea, you are meant to be doing what you see needs to be done. What is it that you see needs to be done? Don't listen to anybody else's bullshit. You make this decision. And Michael Rennie was talking about purpose. It's another word for it. What's your purpose? What's your meaning? Viktor Frankl, that famous book that he wrote, Man's Search for Meaning, I think he meant women as well. It was in the late 40s. He says the people who survived the POW camps in the Second World War were those who had a meaning. I have found, working with people, most people have got no idea what their lives are about. So that's my first big idea. What is going to be your legacy? I have always been passionate. I had a wise father who came from Hungary. Mum and Dad came from Hungary, arrived in 1949. I was born in 1952 in the year of the dragon. Who else is a dragon? Well done for knowing. Dragons are the lucky ones. Rufus, I'm told. Tanya, the lucky ones.
I'm a dragon, Charles.
And are you a dragon? You're that. Very good. Were you born in 1940 or 1928?
78, good. I think it was.
I had a very wise father who let me do whatever I wanted. I have 4 and 7/9 children. The 4 are adults, and not once did I tell them what to do. And I'm proud to tell you that not one of them is a lawyer, even though from an early age I was passionate about practicing law. My definition of passion, I've written books about this and lectured around the world on it. My definition of passion, we've heard a lot of speakers talk about it. Passion is a source of unlimited energy from your soul, from your spirit, from your heart, that enables you to produce extraordinary results. Extraordinary results, passionate people. I challenge you to find me people who've achieved anything of greatness who weren't passionate. Send the email to me, tell me who they are, because I haven't found any. And so it's a source of energy. So you say, well, how do I know what my passion is? Well, that's your job. Your job is to find out what you're passionate about. And then the next question is, are you suppressing it? Because everybody has it. But my research of the last 17 years of thousands of people, 80% of people like you from around the world, no difference in culture, 80% of people say less than 20% of people are pursuing their passion. That's a waste. That's why I gave away $1 million a year income back in 1993 in today's terms. I was head of commercial law of the 10th biggest law firm in Australia. I gave it away to pursue this idea of provoking you, of provoking Australians to do what they are passionate about, to look inside and say, hey, in my soul, what am I meant to be doing? And tap into this enormous well of energy. My sense is when you're coming from your soul space, from your heart, you tap into the energy in the universe. And the universe is just energy. I studied math science at school. You and I are made up of atoms. Atoms are 99.999% empty space. You are 99.999% empty space. You are an energy event. You are a becoming. Physically, you are a whole new person in 12 months' time. Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
Your mind changes, your body changes. So when you say, I am, who is the I? Contemplate that. Who is the I? And it's that unchanging I. That's your spirit. That's your soul. Those who have never been exposed to these ideas have got no idea what you mean by soul. It's the unchanging part of you. When your physicality is changing, your mentality is changing, but your spirituality is not. It is an amazing source of energy, and you become extraordinary because most people aren't passionate. When you are passionate, you are above ordinary. And that's what makes you stand out. Research shows the top performing companies select new employees on the basis of attitude, not skill. Most companies unthinkingly employ people on the basis of their skill sets, on their degrees. I've met so many highly educated idiots, it's entirely depressing. My father had no university degrees. He had no time for people who were educated idiots. And one of the other great lines, I love Chinese proverb, Chinese idea that says, to be uncertain can be uncomfortable. To be uncertain can be uncomfortable. To be certain is ridiculous. To be certain is ridiculous. And I'm sharing my ideas with you and with audiences around the world, and the ideas up here are good. If you disagree with them, great. But don't be certain about anything, because we hardly know anything. And it starts inside you. Why are you alive? It's a big question. Why are you alive? What's the purpose? And passion is a street sign to the purpose of your suburb. When you are passionate about something, you are meant to be doing it. Don't worry about the consequences. You're meant to be doing it, using your brilliant mind to pursue your passion, and that helps you work out what your purpose is if you don't know what it is. Third idea. The first idea is your legacy. The second is what is passion. Third idea. You've heard Michael say, you've heard many other speakers say, every one of you is amazingly creative, innovative. You don't need training in creativity and innovation. You were born with these skills. You know it. For those of you who had children, you know it, you see it. When teams come together to solve problems, you see it. Unleash that innovation. And having Peter Farrell up here from ResMed to deal with sleep problems reminded me of the guy who was having nightmares. He went to the psychiatrist who said, a 6-month program, I can get rid of it. This guy was dreaming that there were devils under his bed. And he said, it's a 6-month program, I can't afford it. He goes to the pub. 6 months later, he bumps into the psychiatrist. He said, have you solved your problem? He said, yeah. How'd you do that? He said, I told the guy at the pub my problem, and he told me to cut the legs off my bed. Fourth idea. You will never be innovative without a willingness to make mistakes. The companies I've worked with have a shocking process for handling mistakes. Here's the idea. Get your company to clarify its philosophy, publish it, and live by its philosophy on how to handle mistakes. Human beings only develop skills through mistakes. You must be willing to make them. Most people I meet are terrified of mistakes. Idea number 5. As you come to these conferences, as you keep your learning journey going, you will get better. You will solve problems. Fantastic! You solve your problems, what's the reward for solving problems? People say happiness, joy, satisfaction, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. As human beings, our reward for solving problems is bigger problems. Isn't that exciting? So my wish for every one of you, Tanya, for you and Rufus and Peter, I wish you huge problems. And when people come to me and say, I've got huge problems, I go, wow, you must be so incredibly skilled. Because you deserve the problems you got. So choose to love them, because that's how you grow. Idea number 6. Who's responsible for innovation in your company? Who? The answer is you are. You are. You are responsible. I'm responsible. You're responsible for Australia's future, and I am. You are responsible for innovation. You are responsible for change. You are responsible for building the type of organisation that has meaning for you. Stop blaming the rest of the world. Evidence shows any human being, any Australian can change Australia's future. You can change the future of your company. Idea number 7. You are designed by God, by universe, by Great Spirit to live till you are 120 years old, at least. I turn 58 next month. I feel like a kid. And science shows that very few people die of old age. We're designed to live a long time. My wish for you is that you live to 120. Most people tell me they don't want to live that long. Why don't they? Because they're not tapping into their passion. 120, it's your choice. Choose. Last idea. My vision for the planet. Based on the work of Buckminster Fuller, I got so frustrated with this previous session because there is a solution to the planet. That's why I urge you to look at the Buckminster Fuller solution. Go to genie.org. There is a solution. And we can make the planet work for all of us. We don't have to have war. That's why I do the work I do, because my picture is that if every one of us is doing what we love doing, we're hardly going to go and kill everybody else. Be passionate.
Thank you, Charles.